Martial artist stands 5 foot tall, weight in 263.8 pounds. Tonight he's making his professional debut. Representing Sanford MMA and fighting out of Dunmore, Pennsylvania, Daiqwon Buckley. His opponent across the octagon, fighting out of the red corner, is a mixed martial artist standing 6'8", weight in 253.8 pounds. Tonight he's also making his professional debut. Representing the Academy and fighting out of Twin Cities, Minnesota, Royce, the new attraction. Why? Referee in charge of the action, Travis Mateer.
Gentlemen, you've had your instructions in the back. I expect a good, clean fight. Protect yourselves at all times. Obey my commands at all times. You want to touch gloves? Go ahead. Let's go to war.
Royce White, we're just glad he got the fight. You mentioned the size of his hands, 11.5-inch hands. We couldn't find gloves. Props to the LFA staff. He wears 5XL gloves. I think those are bigger than Shane Carwin's. We are ready to go. Fighters, touch gloves. Royce White, pro debut. Red tape, black shorts, and Daiqwon Buckley, blue tape and blue shorts. Do not blink in this one.
No, not at all. And right away, I'm just loving the movement I'm seeing from Royce. I mean, just really light on his feet, using that long guard, keeping his left hand out. And on the other side of it, Buckley's doing a lot of things well too, you know.
Nice jab from White.
I like that stutter step. That's going to be a key for him, that nice little stutter step. You got to get him biting on some sort of fake and cork that right straight.
And Buckley does not want to stay in the range of White. 10-inch reach advantage for the former basketball player.
Yeah, and he uses every inch of it. I mean, he's doing a good job. Like I said, keep using that long guard, pawing with his left hand. And I like what he did before. He threw a high kick, and before he retracted his kick and brought his foot to the floor, he did a nice little side kick to the knee, so you can show he's very ambidextrous with his legs. And it's safe to say, I think that that's going to be his best weapon going forward with his fighting career, is going to be the legs, going to be using the kicks.
White was open when he said, listen, I want to feel him out. I want to take my time. Feels he has the advantage on the feet. And of course, with his range, said he was going to throw pretty much every kick in the book, Michael. Teeps, front kick, sides, and then that will open up the jab.
Yeah, well, he'd be smart to do that. You know, I think, like I said, that's going to be his best weapon going forward is his kicks. He's light on his feet. I mean, everything he said about the correlation between basketball and fighting really is very true. So I think that he knows where his best physical attributes match up when it comes to what he can do as a fighter. I think if he stays within himself and knows what his limitations are and what he's capable of, he could have a lot of success. But as I say that, Buckley lands a really nice overhand punch.
Yeah, Buckley's flat out said, listen, I'm expecting him to keep that distance, but I have to be first. I have to be the aggressor. Said he needs to make this into a dirty fight.
Yeah.
And give Buckley a lot of credit, too. A great athlete. Played running back at Temple University.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big guy, but I bet if he ran a 40, you'd be astonished. He's probably very fast himself.
I would not want to tackle him.
You know, and
there's a slip.
You know, and as much as I'm saying that Royce is doing a lot of things well, things change when you start getting punched in the face. It's easy to look good and to do the things you do on the mitts and the things you do on the bags, but when you start getting hit, techniques kind of go out the window sometimes. So this is a big learning experience for him, and he's got to learn. He's got to learn on the fly in the octagon.
And now Buckley able to close the distance and get in there. Some shots to the side of the body. And an opportunity for Buckley. Let's see what he can do. Gets the takedown.
That was beautiful.
That is a big man on top of you.
Oh, yeah, he got to the over-under, and he did what we call at our gym a quarter step. He locked down the underhook of Royce, and he stepped the corner. and just brought him down with that nice clinch takedown. And this is where my biggest question was going to come from Royce. Is look, he's got Greg Nelson in his corner, who's a phenomenal coach, one of the best for sure. That's where the current strawweight champion Rose Namajunas spends her time trainings with Greg Nelson. But did Royce immerse himself in the wrestling and the grappling? Because that's the toughest part of the sport to learn if you didn't grow up wrestling.
Oh, and Buckley. Great escape from White as Buckley was dropping some big bombs.
Yeah, I'm impressed. That was a really nice get-up. But now Buckley, that exchange, getting that takedown and having that success on the ground, even though Royce got back to his feet, he's going to start gaining a lot of confidence throughout this fight. If he can get more takedowns, get more of those situations going, it's going to get the confidence going.
The corner of Buckley really liked that. And he gets another takedown.
Yeah, that was a great takedown from Buckley. Just got to the legs, got his hands clasped, and sucked the legs off, and essentially just brought White right down to his butt. But now he's got to climb the body like he's doing right now, but that's the risk you make. When you take a guy down with that kind of takedown, when you pull the legs out, get them to their butt, and start climbing the body, it gives them the opportunity to get to their feet like Royce did.
Time winding down. Opening frame of this LFA heavyweight matchup between Royce White. Buckley gets the 2 takedowns, but White had some success with his jab. Who'd you give that first round to?
I got to lean towards Buckley. I feel like the takedowns and land a little bit of ground and pound. I think if Royce can start letting his hands go, get that right straight going, and mix it in with his kicks, I think he could have a lot of success.
Round number 2 scheduled for 3 here in the Legacy Fighting Alliance heavyweight division. And again, Buckley able to punch his way in.
Buckley lands a really stiff jab, and you can see that Royce blinked that one off like, whoa, that was different.
Yes. What the heck was that? Is someone going to call it foul or what?
Nope, no technical, bud. This is mixed martial arts.
High kick blocked very nicely by Buckley.
He's got to be careful with the fingers there. Buckley's having none of it. He just crashes the distance, gets to the clinch, and White pushes him off. And you just get the feeling that a bomb could land from either of these big men. And this fight could end in an instant. 100%. I mean, you can see the way that Royce is chambering that right hand with that long guard, kind of sitting back into that right leg, trying to chamber it. And you can see that Buckley, he wants to wade his way inside and start landing those overhand punches. That was, wow, that was a stiff body shot.
Man, that was right in front of us, and that echoed through the arena here at Mystic Lake.
Royce's style reminds me a lot of my old teammate Daniel Spitz. And Daniel Spitz was a Division I football player, but very similar build to Royce, really tall and using that long guard, using that good footwork. And if I'm Royce right now, he needs to get his feet wider. He needs to get his feet wider. That's the best way to defend takedowns if you're a lot taller than your opponent, is you got to use wide legs and you got to keep your feet parallel to the fence.
White able to come out, and a solid right lands from Royce White. But now Buckley comes back.
I liked it. He kind of played possum there. It looked like he was going to put his hands on his knees to get a breath, and then he pops up with a nice 1-2.
White getting the strikes through the guard, but Buckley firing back.
Yeah, Buckley landed a nice little 2-piece with a little soda of his own and finds himself in on a double leg against the fence.
See if Buckley can score another takedown, approaching the midway point of the second round.
I'm impressed that he can get his hands locked on the legs, because, I mean, you see how wide, you see how long Royce's legs are, and he's still able, he's got to be strong to be able to clasp those legs in and get these double leg takedowns.
So another takedown for Buckley. 2 incredible athletes, training at 2 amazing gyms, the Academy for Royce White and Sanford MMA for Daiqwon Buckley, back on their feet.
You know, my questions about Royce immersing himself in the wrestling and the grappling have been answered. And it's the way he's able to get back to his feet and use the fence and get back to the middle of the octagon shows that this guy is really absorbing the knowledge of Greg Nelson and immersing himself in every facet of this sport.
Just missed with that sneaky little elbow. Could have done some damage.
Sometimes those are the best ones, though, Ron. Everybody's under this impression when you land an elbow that you got to crash and you got to land with every part of your arm. But sometimes when you slice and you can just barely graze them, those are the ones that will really slice somebody's face open. Maybe not cause the blunt force trauma that you would think if you crash them with the elbow, but when you throw those slicers, those are the ones that'll leave you in the back getting stitched up.
You've landed a few of those in your career, Mr. Chiesa.
I might know a thing or two about it.
Yeah. See Greg Nelson there cheering on his fighter, Royce White. We hit 1 minute to go in the second round. Now, these are two big heavyweights. White weighed in 253, Buckley 263. See if cardio becomes a key as this fight goes on.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Ron, because heavyweight fights more often than not, and you know they finish in the first half. You know, so these guys are really gonna have to dig deep headed into this third round, and this is a very closely contested match. I mean, arguably, it could be 2-0 for either guy. It could be 1-1, but we got a whole nother round left.
Right.
You know, for people back home, it was really hard for Royce White to get a fight. He had five opponents turn him down within a year until he came to LFA. And our guy Mark Beer said, "Oh, it won't be hard to find you a fight. I'm one of the best in the world at this." And boom, gets it done with Mr. Buckley.
Weird that second round when White landed some good strikes. Buckley did get the takedown, but didn't do much with it. Third and final round of this LFA heavyweight matchup. Royce White and Daiqwon Buckley.
Yeah, it's really any guy's fight. Really any guy's fight. You know, if this round ends up being as close as the last two, it's a coin flip fight.
And there we go. Buckley able to get in and see if he can score another takedown.
That was beautiful fake to set up that shot, too. He faked like he was coming up with the left hook. Drop levels, took him down, and, you know, but this is what's got to be disheartening for Buckley is this guy Royce White finds his way back to his feet every time he gets taken down.
Right.
And it's a lot more exerting to be the guy having to get the takedowns than it is to be the guy that's getting up from bottom. He's savvy to using the fence. He's leaning on the fence and using it to get up. It's essentially like somebody helping you. You know, when you're using the fence, it's like somebody to help hoist you to your feet. Good head position from Buckley. This is what he needs to do. You use that head position to create some openings, to land some short strikes. You start landing the short strikes, and they defend. You drop levels for the takedown again. He's got to stay busy in this position.
White trying to move to his right and get out of this, but Buckley holding him up against the cage. It's a powerful man.
And I'm impressed with the gas take, obviously, for both guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, but for Buckley to keep pursuing these takedowns, you know, that's a very exhausting style of fighting. So you can tell that time at Sanford and going to those Greg Jones wrestling practices is really paying off for him.
Under 3 minutes to go. Fans here in Minnesota want some more action.
Well, they've been spoiled to some pretty good fights so far, so I don't blame them.
For sure.
Now, if I'm Royce, I'm using that left wizard that he has to flank him. You punch that arm straight down, and you flank your hand in his crotch, and you create a wedge to where you can circle off the fence and get back to the center. Use that left hand, punch that wizard down, create that wedge, and circle off.
Both men making their pro debut. First ever fight for Royce White. Daiqwon Buckley has one submission win as an amateur. He lost as well. A decision.
Really nice cutaway from Royce White. Used that collar tie, pulled his head around, circled off. He got back to one place he needs to be to give himself the best shot to win that fight, and that's in the center of the octagon.
And now White backing Buckley up.
And you can sense a little bit of urgency.
I think he needs it.
Yeah, he does. He fired off a couple right straights right away. But he's got to stay on his front foot. He's got to stay moving forward because Buckley saw that he's taking a couple steps back and he just barreled in on him on this double leg. If I'm Royce White, he should be letting go of the head right now. If he holds the head, it gives you one less arm to defend the takedown with, and right as I say that, Buckley sucks him to the floor again.
Man, that could be a massive takedown, Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. And what Buckley's doing is very correct. You got to keep your opponent's shoulder blades flat on the mat. And that's not to pin a guy like in wrestling, but when you pin somebody's shoulders flat to the mat, it creates a pin for you to start working your passes, start unhooking your legs, keeping him from being able to sit up to an underhook to get to a stand-up.
Buckley scores the takedown. Under 30 to go. And just keeping Royce White planted on the mat. Could the takedowns be the difference in this fight? Working the rib cage.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most clear-cut round of the fight, but it was those first two rounds were really close. I'm really interested to see how the judges scored this fight.
Judges extremely busy here tonight in Minnesota.
Scorecards and the judges score it 30-27, 29-28, and 29-28, all for your winner by unanimous decision, Daiqwon Buckley.
A big upset for the former football player, derails the Royce White hype train, and a successful pro debut for the 25-year-old from Pennsylvania, Daiqwon Buckley.